Lisa, a big Tottenham fan, has been waiting very patiently to speak to us. Lisa, good morning.
Morning, Jim and Simon. Good to speak to you.
Good morning to you.
I just wanted to say that Poch coming back to me, that would be the best. I think Levy has realised he's really got to do a rebuild. I don't think Poch will come back unless Levy says, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and do a proper rebuild. And I think we need to get rid of Ali, we need to get rid of Winks, Sanchez. We've got loanees, Sessegnon, who's had a brilliant season, Skip, Jan Foyth won the Europa League last night. All these loanees, they need to come back and incorporate them into the first team because they've done really well. I think all the other managers that I've heard about just doesn't really excite me at all.
Right, so also, Lisa, you're giving it the thumbs up for Poch.
Yeah, and Levy also, he knows he's got to appease the fans because of the Super League and the fiasco at the stadium the other day. He knows he's got to appease the fans, so Poch would be the right move.
Okay, Lisa, thank you for that. I've got a feeling David, another Tottenham fan, is going to be talking in a similar way. David, good morning.
Good morning. I love the show as always.
Thank you, David.
I'm exactly the same. I was one of the Tottenham fans that I thought the grass would be greener when he went, and I was completely wrong. I would absolutely love him back. We need him back. We want him back. I think he's the only man who can come in and rectify what's happened the last year and a half. And what, as the caller said before, Levy knows he's got to pull something out of the bag, and this is it for us. This is, he's magic. He's got to come back.
Yeah,
and this is what we want.
There's a real affection towards Pochettino from Tottenham fans, I think, worldwide, is there not, David?
Yeah, and at the end of the day, what he did for us, I don't think anyone else, no other manager could have done that for us. And he loves the club, and what he did in that semi-final. He just loves the club, and he could just come back and hopefully rebuild, like the last caller said, and hopefully Levy gives him that money this time and lets him do what he can do, and hopefully with Poch coming back, he can convince Kane to stay, convince Sonny to stay, and we can finally get that duck off and win a bloody trophy.
Okay, David, you saved the best till last. Thank you for that, Simon. From your experience owning a Premier League football club, is it wise to go back? Is it wise to go back for somebody you've had before?
Well, you can always find exceptions that disprove the rule. David Moyes going back to West Ham will disprove the concept that you go back. Often there's a reason why you left, and if the same people are involved, then it tends to be that the same outcome manifests itself, i.e. that you have difficulties, the challenges will remain the same. If there's a sea change in the attitude of Tottenham, and that sea change might come as a result of selling Harry Kane. It might come that they've got a big bag of money that they're prepared to put behind refueling Tottenham Hotspur back to a level that they were a few seasons ago, a level that still resulted in them not winning anything. I was very interested to listen to the French correspondent talk about the innate ability for Pochettino to just resign. I'd be surprised if that were the case, because if you're PSG and you bring Pochettino in and you put him on a contract and you back him and buy him a load of players and give him a lot of support, and then he decides he wants to leave, then it leaves you in a slightly invidious position. If the flip side works, it happens, and you decide that he isn't very good and you throw him out the door, you'll have to pay up his contract. So it doesn't seem very equitable that he can walk out the door with no notice, turn on his heel and say, thanks for that, I'm off. But if you want to get rid of him, you'd have to pay him 2 years if he's got 2 left on his contract. I think there'll be a better mechanism for PSG to preserve their position with the manager, to stop Tottenham Hotspur just enabling him to come whenever he feels like it, if that is indeed what's happening, because obviously what we've heard is PSG are none the wiser to this. This feels like leverage being played. This feels like somebody buzzing around Pochettino, suggesting that it might be good timing to drop it in the mix to wake everybody up at PSG and remind them that Pochettino will want a big bag of money from them in the summer to support his aspirations for player change at PSG. I don't know whether Tottenham are being played here, and I don't fall into the camp that this is the greatest move on earth, because they didn't achieve that squad of players that Tottenham had when he was there and they were going at full tilt, should have won something, and they didn't. And I don't see that rebuilding it by bringing younger players like Sessegnon back is going to satisfy the here and now. Pochettino needs the here and now. Tottenham fans will soon lose the lustre of what he was before. What he was before was disenfranchised with the club, disillusioned, out of sorts, talking about bowls of fruit that gave him good karma.
That's right.
And leaving the club 14th in the league.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can blame Levy for that or if you want, or you can also say he was culpable in part of that. He was part and parcel of the mix that was responsible. You can blame everybody else if you want.
Sure.
But he's the manager that put you 14th in the league. He still had a decent group of players that should have been way above the level they were performing when he exited stage right.
Yeah. I mean, if this indeed, as you say, Simon, I've no reason to doubt it, was kind of leverage to some extent.
Could be, couldn't it?
By Pochettino or some of his representatives.
Yeah.
Why is that not being widespread reported in Paris this morning? Apparently there's incredulity in Paris this morning among journalists that Pochettino may be considering going back to Tottenham.
Because maybe Tottenham are very interested in Pochettino. And maybe they have reached out and had a conversation, and maybe they've been given a little bat of the eyelid. And that may well be that we know how efficient, both with the truth and with fact, and not the truth, that sometimes the British media can be. And of course, we've jumped on it. Sky have run with it. Other people, we're running with it. And it looks like a very interesting story. So it will spin backwards into Paris. The echo, the waves will reverberate back into France because they're not aware of an issue. They're not aware of a challenge. PSG aren't saying nothing, are they? PSG aren't saying, I beg your pardon, they're saying, no, we are very happy with our manager.
Yeah.
And we're looking to go forward with him. So that's surprising news to us.
Well, it's our understanding that some of the top journalists in Paris at the moment are virtually scrambling across this story.
I'm sure they will be.
Because it's developing as we speak in Paris. So we shall see what happens at that end. At this end, certainly the news is being very much welcomed by most Tottenham fans, as far as we can gather. Niall is in Luton. Niall, you join us live. Good morning.
Good morning, Jim, and hello, Simon.
Morning.
Niall, good to have you on board.
I'm going to play devil's advocate because I think no player is bigger than a football club. But in this current climate, who's going to pay 120, 150 million for Harry Kane? It's limited. It's Man United, Man City. I can't see him go to Chelsea. Paris Saint-Germain, they haven't even got a manager. So
I think it's between the two Manchester clubs now. Yeah.
Maybe David Levy has had a word with Harry Kane and said to him, who do you want for another gentleman's agreement of one more year? And he's probably said, I'll have Pochettino. I personally think Pochettino is a good, coming back is a good idea.
Right.
If it worked for Luton with Nathan Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a very different. That's a very different level. This is like an episode of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. This is lunatics running the asylum. Daniel Levy's not going to go to Harry Kane and ask him which manager he wants to play for.
I mean, would that not be in a conversation though?
It might be a reasonable conversation to be having about where do we see the future.
I mean,
and how did you get on with certain people?
Yeah, but Kane's had conversations with Levy and he's going to say what you're going to do.
If you've got anything in your right mind, the players play. And their employees, and you respect their value, and you know what they are, and they're integral parts of it. But you don't sit there and let lunatics run the asylum. Even Daniel Ways, fawning best in All or Nothing, wouldn't allow Danny Rose to come and pee in his ear about Jose Mourinho, would he?
So you're telling me when you were at the top of the house at Crystal Palace, no player came to you and said, Mr. Chairman, you tell me your plans, and then I might consider what I'm going to do.
Oh, if you feel I could listen to those goblins come in my office and tell me what best suited them, you'll be seriously misguided. A few of them tried, though, I can tell you.
I'll bet they did, and failed. It's 11:15.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Thursday morning, 10 till 1. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.